So, what's up, my senores and senoritas? This is Bo Reason from Bo Life. Wanted to make this story time to talk about where I've been. The last upload that I had between the one before that was like 2 weeks. I was a little missing in action. What happened was I actually got sick from COVID. It was just the craziest, the most randomest thing that's probably happened to me like in the recent times. It was just insane, like how sick I was, how my family was worried about me. I actually didn't even think I was gonna make it. I had videos to upload. It started maybe about 3 weeks ago now. The last healthy day I remember was the music video. We were out and about like downtown, me and my brother, we were down at my mom's house. It was a few people there, but not a lot. One thing about COVID, first of all, it's mysterious. You never really know who really has it. Like some people can carry it and you won't even know. We did the music video and I think a couple of days later, I ended up having like a headache. First it started off like a random, just regular headache. I couldn't really like look around because it would make my eyes hurt. It felt like my head was just full and it kept just getting worse and worse. Mind you, I haven't been to work. I'm in the nursing field. We did have a couple people that tested positive there as far as like employees and a few residents, but nothing serious. And I haven't even been at work in a while. I took some time off before. So around the time I got sick, which is good because I didn't get anyone in my job sick at the time. But at this time, I didn't even know that, what was going on. It just started off as a headache. A couple of days into the headache, I would get tired. The headache was just excruciating. I'm taking Motrin and Tylenol. I wasn't eating, but still I'm doing, everyday things, taking care of the kids, taking care of the household, blah, blah, blah. So something told me like, maybe I should just take a test, My sister-in-law, she had a rapid test. You swab your nose, you get the results in about 15 minutes. I took it and I tested negative. Cool, maybe it's just like the flu or something, or just a headache. Maybe I just need to increase my water. So I did that. I kept taking Motrin, kept taking Tylenol. A couple of days I would feel better than usual, better than what I was feeling. I still wasn't like 100%. It was almost time for me to go back to work, and I'm like, I can't work like this. Like, it's getting terrible. Called my job. I had to call off. Went to urgent care. I didn't even think to ask them about COVID. I just wanted to go see a doctor. Maybe get some time off or work. I didn't think it was COVID because I already tested negative. But they ended up testing me there and I still tested negative. He was just like, well, just continue to take Motrin. If it gets worse in a couple of days, come back and we'll take it from there. So I'm like, cool. So the next day I went to work. The day was just a regular day. I had my headache. I was a little bit tired. I had my girls with me. I dropped them off in Detroit because I stay in Inkster. For some reason, when I got to work, I went to sleep in my car. I was so tired. I knew something was wrong that day. I was so lethargic. I can't remember what I took, if I took anything that day. I worked 12 hours midnight. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to make it through the night. I didn't really have a temperature. My temperature would be around like 99.5. It will go up and down. Mostly when you go into any job or any place, most of them, they take your temperature. My temperature was not high. It was about 98.7, 98.5. I had this banging headache, feeling sick to my stomach. I'm feeling tired. I was actually hoping that I did have a fever so I would go home. Mind you, I'm working in a nursing home around a lot of people. I clocked in early just to put my head down. Finally did get the keys and start passing medicine. I'm like, I gotta get through this, these people need their medicine. Nobody else is gonna do it. Yada, yada, yada. One of my seniors that works with me, she looked at me and she's like, are you okay? Actually, what's funny is when I first walked in, another nurse asked me if I was feeling okay. And I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to make it, I'm a little bit under the weather. Which is funny that she asked me that because this day was crazy. My senior, she asked me like, what's wrong with you? She knew something was wrong with me. I'm still telling her like, I feel a little under the weather. And she's like, why'd you even come to work? And I'm like, because, I haven't been to work in so long already. It's already been a week since I haven't been at work. I have bills. I don't want to call off. I already called off. I don't want to get in trouble. So she's like, that's not an excuse of how you look. I don't know how I look to her. It caused a really big alarm for her. She walked with me. That's how bad I felt. Like, it just kept gradually getting worse and worse. I honestly felt like I was going to pass out. Like, it felt like I just couldn't catch my breath under my mask. She took me, we walked to the nursing station, and she asked the other nurse and told her, like, Chris isn't going to be able to work like this. Y'all need to do something, get somebody here. Still, I'm like, maybe I should just, like, sit down and sleep it off or something like that for maybe about an hour. Even the nurse asked me that, but then something in my heart just was just like, I should probably go to the hospital. I never really get sick. And when I do get sick, it's like I can thug it out. Like, I've had stomach flus or flus and still been able to work and still be fine. But this was different. Like, something was going on. I never really felt like I had to pass out. So she went to go get help. I called my wife. I asked her to come get me. At this time, I'm still like on the edge of passing out. The senior went back to work. The other nurse went to go find help. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I start breathing like really, really fast. Like I just couldn't catch my breath. Like my whole body just started vibrating and I'm sitting down. So I stood up and I'm looking for help and no one's around. I see a few residents. So I'm like, maybe I should just walk around the building. At this time, I just can't catch my breath. Like I'm breathing so fast. It feels like I can't breathe. I will compare it to a panic attack. I'm pacing, looking for help. I can't even yell out. What's funny is I saw somebody down the hallway. I don't think they knew what was wrong with me because I was walking so slow, but I couldn't yell. So they kept going. So I went to the front lobby. I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, my whole body is like vibrating. I can't feel anything. I feel so helpless to my body. They sat me on a couch and they called for all the nurses to come help. I passed out. I don't know what happened. I woke up. There's 4 nurses around me from the building. The ambulance is there. They're asking me to wake up. They poked my finger to check my blood sugar. They have my blood, the blood pressure machine. I'm breathing so hard that my hands were contracted. I thought I had a stroke because my hands were like this and I couldn't move them. So I'm asking the ambulance driver, like, did I just have a stroke or something? But basically it had to do something with the CO2 exchange and the oxygen exchange. I was breathing so fast. I guess that's normal for someone who has a panic attack or their hands cramped up because it's saving the CO2 that's in your blood because you're releasing it so fast. But it looked like I had a stroke because I couldn't move my hands. My hands were just stuck like this. And I'm like, oh my God, I played a fucking guitar. And I'm a nurse. Like, I need my hand. Like, this is my moneymaker. My wife, she calls. I tell her I'm in an ambulance. She's freaking out because she's there. They took me to the hospital, which was about 7 minutes away. Got there, wheelchair. The place was packed because of COVID. There's a lot of people that haven't even been seen yet. They said there was a 4-hour wait. You guys expect me to sit here like this. I can't catch my breath. I don't know what's going on. I'm sick to my stomach and you want me to wait for 4.5 hours? No. They hooked me up to the monitors. They checked my EKG, my vitals. Something was wrong with my heart and they didn't know what it was. It could have been from breathing or maybe my blood pressure. Nobody knew, so they had to move me in front of the line. So I didn't have to wait 4.5 hours. My wife couldn't come in with me because we're not vaccinated. I'll talk about that as well. I'm sad because it's like I can't really speak. I really needed her to be there for me. Protocols now, at least at this hospital, you have to be vaccinated if you're a visitor to be with your loved one. That sucks and that was scary. I had her on FaceTime the whole time. They didn't even have any room. They had to put me in a hallway. They gave me volume for my breathing. Went to sleep and I passed out. Actually, no, I passed out before they gave me the volume. They were giving me fluids and everything. At this time when I woke up, that's when they gave me volume through the IV. And I went back to sleep. I was feeling better as far as like my breathing. I was able to almost move my hands completely. So that was good because I really thought that I lost all feeling in my hands. I felt a lot better after the volume. So it could have actually been a panic attack, but I still don't know why. Like, it's like my body gave a response to know something was wrong because when they tested me for COVID at the hospital and I tested positive. Which is crazy because, like I said at the beginning of the story, I tested negative twice, from the rapid test to my sister-in-law and their urgent care. And I'm telling them this, like, I don't think it's COVID. I don't know what it is. But I tested positive. So I'm like, shit. Like, I don't know how I got COVID. This is crazy. I'm breathing fine. Pulse ox was good. Now, if you don't know what your pulse ox is, that's how much oxygen you're receiving through your lungs. If your pulse ox is low, you're not getting enough oxygen in your blood. Which can cause an organ failure, you can suffocate, blah, blah, blah. That's how COVID pretty much gets a lot of people, is because your lungs are unable to capture the oxygen in the air. My pulse ox is pretty good. They even had me walk to see how low it get. I would think it went down to like 97. My body feels tired. I think it's in shock from what happened. So they gave me some more Valium, albuterol, which is an inhaler for shortness of breath. Quarantine for 14 days. I knocked this out. I'll be good. That wasn't even the beginning. I went home and I actually felt good the first day. I'm upstairs, away from my family. Called all my family, let them know I'm okay, let them know what happened. It was scary, traumatic. First day, I'm cool, I'm bored, watching movies, blah, blah, blah. I started throwing up. I couldn't keep anything down, and I realized that I haven't eaten in almost a week. Now, before this, I was about 208. I look on the scale, I'm like 194 pounds. I lost 14 pounds through this whole ordeal already. That just shows like how crazy COVID is, because before I even tested positive, before I even passed out and went to the hospital, I didn't even know that I was sick. Like I forgot that wasn't even eating. I still actually had my headache after this too. Second day of quarantine, I'm feeling terrible. Like, I feel like I just can't breathe. I'm throwing up. I can't keep anything down. I'm tired. It got so bad so I couldn't even talk, like, because it felt like I was going to throw up. Like, every word I said just, like, hurted my whole body. My whole body's in pain. I'm taking Motrin and Tylenol. Side note, do not take Motrin, which is probably how I got so sick again. I'm in a bed and I feel like I'm dying. I'm calling everybody. Everybody's checking on me. They're like, oh my God, you sound so terrible. But what's crazy is the next day after that, third day, I'm feeling amazing. I'm playing the guitar. I'm watching movies. You know, I'm laughing and joking on YouTube. That night, I started feeling bad again. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm drinking. I'm taking in water and everything. Oh my God, water tastes fucking terrible. It tastes like I was drinking like metallic piss. Like, oh my God, it was so fucking terrible. So anyways, that following morning, that whole day, I'm feeling terrible. I'm praying. I wasn't even calling people. My wife had to come upstairs and check on me because I wasn't answering her phone. I guess she thought I was dead. That's how bad that I was feeling. Like, it was the most... I don't even know how to explain how bad I felt that day. I've never felt that bad to where I feel like I was like literally dying by the second. Like, it feels like time stopped just for me to be in agony. My body was in the most terrible shape. I've been laying down for a couple of days because I've been so tired. My back hurts, my head hurts, my stomach hurts, you know, diarrhea. I can't keep anything down. I'm weak. I just want some fresh air. It was terrible. Then I started throwing up. I mean, I'm throwing up constantly. And what's crazy is my wife had to go take my daughter somewhere. So I'm in the house by myself, like just literally just dying. I had to call my mom to see if she can take me to the hospital. And then she's like, your sister has a car. Like, do you want me to just call an ambulance? I'm like, just call an ambulance. Like, I gotta go. I called my wife and told her she's upset because, she has, school. She still has to take care of our daughter. It was a lot on her and I felt so bad. She even missed a bachelorette party. She was supposed to go to Vegas. After that, the ambulance comes. I can't breathe again. I'm throwing up so much. I don't even know what I'm throwing up because I haven't eaten. I'm throwing up brown stuff. They put on the lights and sirens for me. Thank God. When I left, my wife and my sister was out there and my niece. They're crying because they said that I look so frail because I lost so much weight. So I get to the hospital. My wife still wasn't able to come with me because she's not vaccinated. So I'm throwing up so much. I'm throwing up blood, from the pressure, I guess, from throwing up so much from my throat. It's the scariest feeling because the first time, it's just, I feel like I just couldn't breathe. But this time, it's like my body was just like in shock. Like, I was so sick. They admitted me. They gave me antibiotics. It took so long for them to admit me and check me out. I want to say, because I'm a patient person, I want to say it's because the hospital was full because of COVID. Like, the cases are rising up. Like, they're opening up everything and people are still getting sick. And what's crazy is they don't talk about this like they did in the beginning. There were so many sick people that were sicker than me in that hospital. They said that mine was moderate. It was scary. Like, they were just bringing people in. People, coming and saying they don't feel well. They can't breathe. It was insane. Like, so they finally found me a room, which was scary as hell because you actually see what the nurses had to go through. Like, they had every room plastered off with plastic. And I think they put me in like a storage room. That was so depressing because I'm a nurse. It's like I take care of my residents. I do great by my residents. They love me. And I feel like I was kind of stashed away. What can you really do when the hospitals are running out of room? I was able to get my fluids. They started me on antibiotics. First night was just terrifying. The nurses on the night shift were like really patient with me. They were, trying to console me and everything like that. I'm still feeling terrible the next morning. So the next morning was scary because it was a whole different shift. And I'm hearing them rushing, trying to save somebody's life. They left my door open. And I'm too sick to even close it. Basically, I guess somebody came in, they couldn't breathe. Like I said, their pulse ox was low. The nurses didn't do anything. So that person had to go to ICU. And then a doctor came in chewing everybody out like, what's wrong with you guys? You guys are being mean to these patients and, there's no excuse for this. I know you guys are working short. If you guys aren't here to take care of these patients, then why are you even here? Like, go home. I think a couple people did get sent home. Even after that, it was one nurse by themselves with like 11 people. We're all critical. I had my breakfast tray, but I couldn't eat. I was getting antibiotics, and then I kept feeling hot. The nurse took my temperature. My temperature was 102. I'm just basically sitting there dying. They did not come back. Probably one of the worst hospitals I've ever been in. I'm sitting there with a fever of 100, 102. I have COVID. They didn't bring me my lunch tray. No one's checking on me. I had to pee. I had no call-out. I was done with my antibiotics at this time. They were giving me pills. They did give me pills in the morning. I had to take all the monitors off just to go find a urinal. My pee is super dark. TMI. It looks brownish red from the medicine and not being able to drink water. They didn't even bring me any water. My wife is upset when I'm talking to her on the phone, telling her everything that's going on. She's trying to call a social worker from the building. They don't even answer. Never even called her back. Everybody's calling me and like crying. I really thought I was gonna die. Like it was terrible. Like I really don't even know how to explain how my body felt, and it was bad enough just being like in that predicament, not being able to move around, and my back and my body is hurting, and not being able to eat. No one's checking on you. It was a very humbling and scary experience. Another nurse came to help because one of the nurses, like I said, was working by themselves. Before she came, I'm hearing my heart monitor is going off, my blood pressure machine is going off. I hear all of these loud beats. Once she came, she's a really good nurse. I kind of feel sorry for her because she had to stay a little longer. Like I said, I heard everything. I'm thankful for her because she had the whole floor like so quiet, peaceful. The doctor was still being an asshole. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I need Tylenol. He said, well, I gotta finish my examination. And this motherfucker had a nerve telling him, okay, I think we're gonna admit you. Bitch, I've been here since fucking yesterday, and if I'm not admitted now, what the fuck have I been doing here? Anyways, they finally come in, give me some Tylenol. About an hour, it goes down, which is good. She finally got me my dinner tray, and I'm eating, and I felt a little better. I still feel like I'm dying. I went to sleep in the middle of the fucking night, after midnight. Oh, Mr. Burns, we're gonna have to give your room away because you don't need oxygen. Okay, sure, why not? Everybody else is dying in here. My pulse ox didn't go down, so it's like no matter how bad I feel, if somebody can't breathe and they can't get oxygen, that's top priority in nursing. So I understood that. I was a little mad about it, but they put me, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. They put me in a freaking lobby. Lights, bright as ever. People next to me were separated by like curtain dividers. It's so loud. People running back and forth. And it's like, I just got comfortable. Oh my God, it was so terrible. Oh, side note. I think the night before they gave me like some pain medicine and my wife told me I was talking a little crazy. I don't remember everything I said, but she was laughing at me. Oh my God, so they gave my room away. I'm sitting in the hallway, lights, camera action. I don't know how I'm going to live. My vitals were beginning to, stabilize. I still feel tired, sick to my stomach from all the medicine and from COVID. I did feel bad because I felt like I was probably still the healthiest person there. A couple hours later, like I want to say around the morning, got my breakfast tray, barely ate still. And they're like, oh, we're going to give you a real room where you can be comfortable at. So I'm like, cool, I guess that's a little better. I finally went to a real room. I had a roommate, older guy named, Louis. He's pretty cool. It's probably the most peaceful room ever, but after the whole ordeal, I couldn't sleep. I was able to see some sunlight finally. They put me by a window. My brain was so active from all the stimulation. It's like even when I was sleeping, I felt like my brain was just like wide awake. It's like my body was just resting. They did do an ultrasound on my heart because I had 2 bad EKGs. At that time, I didn't know what was going on with my heart. I could have been heart disease because they're asking me like, does anybody in your family ever have heart issues or heart failure before 50? And I'm like, oh my God, it's just never ending. Went to sleep. Cardiologist came in. He's a heart doctor. He's saying, "Oh, you look fine." But I'm like, "Well, what about my results from the test you guys done?" They keep giving me the runaround, blah blah blah. The nurse and the nurse practitioner, which is the person that works with the doctor, come in and like, "Oh, you can be discharged," which is cool because it's like I don't want to be there. I'm tired. I do feel better to where I can quarantine on my own after all that. It gave me so much medicine like through my body, like so much antibiotics through my arm, so many pills. It was crazy, but I'm thankful. But it was just like Jesus Christ, like whatever. Like COVID really tried to take something from me. Like it really tried to get me. So I'm getting discharged. Went home, quarantining by myself. I actually feel really good at that time. I think that was probably the last of my troubles with COVID. Actually, I'm still quarantining because they wanted me to quarantine 14 more days after my last hospital visit. I'm, watching movies. I'm so thankful just to be alive. Just seeing what everybody else went through, what I went through, my family worry, people, I'm hearing people crying, over me, like, my baby mother, my wife, my sister, my mom, everybody, was so worried about me. And I was like, I must have just looked terrible. I must have just sounded terrible. After the first 2 days of quarantine, the third day, for some reason I just started feeling a little down. I think after everything that happened and just being so traumatized about what happened. And mind you, it was so hard for me to sleep because my brain was so wired from all the stimulation from the hospital and not knowing if I'm going to make it. I think I was actually scared to go to sleep because I didn't know if I was going to wake up. My wife's, she was like, maybe you should take a Valium. I still had volume left from the first hospital visit, but I was too scared to take it. I was scared I wasn't going to wake up for some reason. And I'm just sitting there like kind of just depressed. My wife, she fought to get me outside, just to get some fresh air, get some vitamin D. The doctor told me that I didn't have to quarantine upstairs if I had a whole full day of not having a fever. I haven't had a fever since, that day in the hospital. Still haven't really been anywhere, just like my doctor's appointments and, going to get some air in the backyard. So I'm still technically quarantining. As you can see, I haven't had a haircut. I try to fix my face up a little bit, for the video and just, trying to make myself feel better. And now that it's all over, I still have times and moments where I'm feeling like down. It just makes me realize how fragile life is. And then, I play the woe is me card, like, why did this have to happen to me? You know what? I come to realize, like, when it comes to a virus or anything like that, it doesn't pick and choose. You get it and you have to do your best to fight it. A little bit of me is a little thankful. I'm able to rest, take a break. I'm with my family. Nobody else tested positive. Everybody tested negative. My children, my wife, even a baby. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to just be here. Because it was a point in time where I didn't think I was going to make it. Like, that's how bad I really felt. And just seeing everybody else in their stories and people on ventilators and, the people that weren't getting taken care of in the hospital, I'm like so thankful to just be here. That does make me feel a lot better. I still have my moments where I'm like, oh, I can't believe this happened. This is some bullshit. But honestly, like, I'm like so thankful because life is so fragile. If anything I can share with the world, we get so caught up in the stuff that we don't have, looking at the internet and trying to be people that we're not, just trying to be perfect, and not really taking the time to be thankful for not only the stuff that we have, but the stuff that we've been blessed with, just health, being able to breathe, our family, the people that care about us, and looking up at the sun and admiring the beauty of it, the beauty of now. In another reality, I'm probably not here. I'm thankful that my children have their father. I grew up without a father. I know what it's like. I would never want my children to go through that. Or like my wife, I couldn't imagine leaving her behind with the children, bills, and just a life without me. And I couldn't imagine moving on without her. It's very humbling. It's changed me to the core. For better or worse. I just had my follow-up appointment today. I'm sad that it happened, but I'm thankful that I'm still here and still have a story to tell. I know the story is not like kind of like a fun, happy story. I did want to share this story because, like I said, I've been missing. I want people to realize and understand, like, COVID is real. Like, I'm 33. I was healthy as an ox before, and it literally tried to take my life. So I can only imagine, like, even if you aren't the one to get sick, if you carry it and give it to someone who can't fight it off, people are dying off of this. And it's like, even as sick as I was, I would never or even want to wish that on, like, my worst enemy how sick I was. Even if you aren't gonna get vaccinated, like, just do what you have to do, like, as far as like social distancing, hand sanitizer, washing your hands, using your mask. At first I wasn't gonna get vaccinated, but my body can't take that again. I'm scared to give that to my children. I'm scared to lose my life. I'm definitely gonna get vaccinated. Do I feel like the vaccination is probably rushed? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a given. Like somebody told me, and I'm definitely realizing it now. One side effect of COVID is death. And whatever I went through, I can't go through that again. I wouldn't want anybody else to go through that again. So I'm gonna do my part, and I'm gonna get vaccinated as soon as I can. I can't right now because I'll technically be testing positive for, they said, the next 90 days. I hope you guys got something from this video. Still day by day as far as like getting myself back together as far as my strength. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still struggling with, what happened. It was a little traumatizing, almost losing my life. So, with that being said, guys, sorry for the darkness. Still in quarantine. I'll be back to work next week, and hopefully things will just fall back in place. That being said, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying positive, staying woke, and adios. Peace.